Today, our topic of presentation is meningitis. So, we will discuss that what is the meningitis, what will be their causes, and what will be its pathophysiology, and its clinical feature, and briefly its management. So, first of all, what is meningitis? As its name indicates, that it is the inflammation of the meninges. And now, what are the meninges? Meninges are the membranous layers of the central nervous system. Meninges क्या चीजें हैं? Meninges are the membranes which are the layers of the nervous system. And the nervous system is composed of the spinal cord and brain. So the layers which lines the brain and spinal cord are the meninges. So when in the inflammation occurs in those meninges is called meningitis. So what are those? Those are the membranous layers. Those are the dura mater, arachnoid mater, and pia mater. These are the membranous layers of the central nervous system. So what is the arachnoid space? This is the space which is between the pia mater and arachnoid mater. And the fluid which accumulates within this space is called cerebrospinal fluid. And the dura mater is the outer layer, arachnoid mater is the middle layer, and pia mater is the inner layer. Here you can see in this picture, this is the skull, and this is the outer skin layer, this is the skull bone, and this one is the dura layer, which is the outermost layer. And the second one is the arachnoid layer, which is the middle layer, and the last one is the pia layer or pia mater. So the space, this is the space which is between the pia layer and arachnoid layer. So the fluid which accumulates in this layer is called cerebrospinal fluid. And beneath the pia layer is the brain. So basically these are the membranes which lines the brain and spinal cord. And the definition of the meningitis, we already defined the meningitis. This is the inflammation of the meninges, which covers the spinal cord and brain. Now, how we can classify the meningitis? We classify the meningitis into three categories. One is the acute pyogenic meningitis, aseptic meningitis, and chronic meningitis. We can classify in three categories the meningitis. Acute meningitis is called bacterial meningitis, and aseptic meningitis, in which the bacteria are not involved, is called viral meningitis. And the third one is the chronic meningitis, which type of the meningitis which leads to the chronic stage. It may be bacterial, it may be fungal, it may be viral. So this is called chronic meningitis. Now, what are the causes of the meningitis? What is the etiology of meningitis? There are the bacterial agents, viral agents, fungal agents, and parasites. These all causes the meningitis. So we can subclassify those bacterial agents which are involved in different stages of the different ages of the human being. So the neonatal, in neonatal, most commonly the bacteria are involved are the E. coli, group B, streptococci, and Haemophilus influenza or H. influenza. And the young adults, the most common bacteria involved are the Neisseria meningitis and Streptococcus pneumonia. And the old age, the most common bacteria which are involved, which causes the meningitis, are the Listeria monocytogenes and Streptococcus pneumonia. And in viral agents, the most commonly are involved are the MOX virus, Coxsackie virus, Epstein-Barr virus, and human simplex virus, or human herpes zoster viruses. So in the in the fungal agents are the Candida albicans, Cryptococcus neoformans, Blastomyces dermatitis, and Coccidioides. These are the fungal agents which causes the meningitis. And the last one is the parasites, and the parasites are mostly are the protozoa, nematodes, and cystodes. These are the agents which causes the inflammation of the meninges and lead to the stage of the meningitis. So these are the roots. What are the roots of transmission of these infectious agents? कि ये जो infectious agents हैं किस तरह हमारे peripheral nervous system को और जो brain है उनकी meninges को किस तरह affect करते हैं. So these are the roots of transmission of the infectious agents. Hematogenous roots. Hematogenous roots mean that through blood vessels, and the infectious agents travel through the blood vessels and enter into the central nervous system and infect the meninges. Direct implantation. In the direct implantation, the infection agent can be directly implanted to the site of the meninges. In cases of the traumatic injury and punch biopsies and needle penetrations, so these are the routes of transmission of the direct agents to the to involve the meninges. And local extension. And in local extension, when there is infection and some locally adjacent areas like infection in the sinuses, like infection in the frontal sinuses, maxillary sinuses, in the ear, in the teeth infection. So these are the adjacent areas to the brain and to the membranes. So it can involve the meninges locally from the adjacent areas. And infections travel through the peripheral nervous system to the spinal cord, like some rabies viruses, which travels through the peripheral nervous system and affect the meninges. So these are the routes of transmission of the infectious agents which involve the meninges. This is the pathophysiology of the meningitis. These are the organisms which enter to the bloodstream, to the blood vessels, and it crosses the blood-brain barrier. Before entering the infectious agent to the brain, there is a barrier which is traversed by the that organism and enters into the meninges. And when it involves the meninges, it then starts the inflammatory process. And due to inflammatory process, the fluid within the arachnoid space will be also infected. Due to this, the pressure in the intracranial pressure due to fluid will be increased, and the CSF, which is the cerebrospinal fluid, which is present between the arachnoid space and the pia mater, will be thick, and the thickness is called, and the color will be changed, and the color, it will take the cloudy color or gray-white color by that infectious agents. And the inflammatory cells in the cerebrospinal fluid will be increased. So this was all about the pathophysiology. Once again, this is organism which enters through the bloodstream, cross the blood-brain barrier, and enters into the nervous system and involve the meninges and causes the infection in the meninges. And the infection is called meningitis. And due to the inflammatory process, the pressure in the cerebrospinal fluid will be increased. So this is called increased intracranial pressure. And the fluid within the arachnoid space will be thick, and its color will be changed. Its color will be gray-white, cloudy color, and the cell count in the cerebrospinal fluid will be increased. So this was all about the pathophysiology of the meningitis. In this picture, you can see that due to meningitis, the meninges which have covered the membrane is totally replaced by the exudative material of the infectious agent. The infection agent causes the exudate, and this exudate in the form of the pus spread on the brain surface. So this was the picture of the meningitis which have infected the brain. Now comes to the clinical features. What are the clinical features of the meningitis? In the clinical feature of the meningitis, the most common is the patient present with the headache, fever, high-grade fever. He will present with the projectile vomiting. He will present with the light sensitivity, light headache from the light, and drowsiness, joint pain, and also it will causes the neck stiffness, and drowsiness, and irritable. So these are all the features of the restlessness, and these are all the features of the clinical features of the meningitis. This is the picture of the Kerning sign, in which the hamstring muscles will be stretched. There will be severe stiffness in the hamstring muscle. This is called the Kerning sign. And the other one is the Brudzinski sign. And the Brudzinski sign, there will be the stiffness in the neck. So when you elevate the head from the pillow, it will be stiff. You feel stiffness in the neck. So these are the signs of the meningitis, which involve the meninges. So these are the signs and clinical features of the meningitis. Now, how we will assess and diagnose the case of meningitis? So we have the 3-5 steps by which we can diagnose the case of meningitis. The first one is the history taking, and the second was the physical assessment. By the physical assessment, you will see the clinical features, signs, symptoms, and then you will advise the CT scan and MRI, blood culture and sensitivity, and lumbar puncture. By the lumbar puncture, you will take the CSF fluid and will send for the microscopic examination for detection of the inflammatory cells. So this is the interpretation of the cerebrospinal fluids. So these are the characteristics which you will describe in the case of the CSF examination. And this is the normal CSF in case of the how we will present in the acute meningitis, how we will present in the chronic kidney tuberculosis meningitis, and in the case of the viral meningitis. And these are the features. You will see the pressure feature, cell count, predominant cells, biochemical analysis, and biochemical analysis you will see the protein and protein level and the sugar level, blood sugar level, and there will be the microscopic examination, Gram stain, Zenon stain, and blood culture. So these are the properties, these are the forms which you will see in the cases of the cerebrospinal fluid interpretation. So first one is the pressure. What will be the effect on the pressure? In case of the normal CSF, the pressure will be less than 20 centimeter of the water. So in the case of the acute pyogenic bacterial meningitis, the pressure will be increased, and the tuberculosis meningitis, that pressure will be moderately increased. And in case of the viral meningitis, it will be slightly or mildly increased. Now, in the cell count, there will be lesser amount of the cells, like 1 to 3 lymphocytes in the normal CSF. But in case of the acute pyogenic meningitis, the neutrophil count will be increased, and the overall count will also be increased 1,000 to 20,000. And there will be 90 to 95% neutrophils. While in case of the tuberculosis meningitis, there will be 90% of the lymphocytes. While in the viral meningitis, there will be also an increased count of the lymphocytes. In case of the biochemical analysis, the protein content in the normal CSF is 30 to 45 milligram per deciliter, and in the acute pyogenic bacterial meningitis, the protein level will be increased. It will be increased up to 100 to 600 milligram per deciliter. While in case of the tuberculosis meningitis, it will be 80 to 120 milligram per deciliter, moderately increased. While in case of the viral meningitis, it will be mildly, slightly increased. It will be about to 60 to 80 milligram per deciliter, nearly to the normal value. And the sugar level in the normal CSF will be 40 to 80 milligram per deciliter. It will be the 2/3 of the blood glucose level. So in case of the acute bacterial meningitis, it will be decreased around about 10 to 20 milligram per deciliter. In case of the tuberculosis meningitis, it will be also decreased, but in the viral meningitis, it will be the blood sugar level will be normal. Now we come to the microscopic examination. In microscopic examination, Gram stain in case of the normal CSF will be normal, nil, 0. While in the acute meningitis, there will be the gram positive bacilli, GPC, GNC, gram negative cocci, and GNB, gram negative bacilli, and gram positive bacilli, etc. You will see these gram positive cocci and gram negative cocci and gram negative bacilli, gram positive bacilli on the Gram stain examination. While in case of the Zenon stain, it will be nil. In the case of the normal, it will be nil. while in the acute bacterial meningitis, it will be also nil. But in case of the tuberculosis meningitis, acid-fast bacilli will deposit on the sitting stain. Blood culture in the case of normal CSF will be nil, but in the specific media will be used for the detection of the pyogenic meningitis, bacterial meningitis. And LG medium is used for the detection of the tuberculosis meningitis, and the different type of the cell culture is used for the viral meningitis. So this was all about the interpretation of the cerebrospinal fluid to diagnose the bacterial meningitis. Now come to the medical management. What is the medical management? What you will give for the treatment of the patient? So first of all, when there is meningitis, you will give the high dose of the third generation of the cephalosporin, and in the case of the resistance cases, you will add the vancomycin in its treatment choice. And you will also include the dexamethasone steroid in its management, and also replace the fluid deficiency by giving the IV fluids. And for the seizures and for the seizure, you will give the phenytoin. So this was all about the treatment of the meningitis. Now, if it is untreated, it will lead to its complication. And the complications are the brain damage. It will cause the brain severe abscess formation and cerebral edema, hearing loss, tissue damage. So this was all about the complication of the meningitis. Now, at the end, thank you.